Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramona, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve, Ramona.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am so thrilled to have you join us today. My guest is pretty cool. I've spent 5-10 minutes with him. You guys are going to learn a lot today. Pull out your paper and pen because you're going to want to take notes. I'm ready to go. Here's my pen. We dedicate this podcast to bringing guests on like today that are going to show you the servant's heart, how he's taken his ideas and helped others, and he wants to share with you. He's serving you to make an impact in your life, which then you can make an impact in other people's lives. That's what servant's heart's all about, is making that impact and change. We also bring in guests on to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you in that and how it really makes a difference in people's lives. I get to do it every day, and it's the greatest thing in the world. Here's your homework today, audience. I want you to think about how you're going to serve yourself, serve others today, and what impact you want to create today. It could be $1 million to your favorite church, or just calling your best friend, or telling the clerk, "Hey, Tony, thanks for bagging my groceries." All that is serving. There's many different levels. It's your choice. Just go out and serve. I want to thank my incredible sponsor, Pantheon. Join a community of thought leader, highly successful entrepreneurs who are making that, again, impact with their platform and helping you grow your business. For more information, just reach out to me and I'll get you all the information on that. With that being said, I'm going to bring my guest on right now. John, welcome to the show.
Steve, thank you so much. I'm honored to be here, and I think that your audience is going to find what we're going to talk about really interesting. And I think the ones that are driven may find it life-changing.
And I like the Texas draw. He's from Texas, so we got a little Southern boy, which is great for this Northern California guy. It's perfect. I love it. Tell us about your experience. What got you to your methodology, what you're doing now to change lives?
Well, Steve, when I was 50, I just wasn't as successful as I thought I should be. And I started out as a CPA, became an entrepreneur when I was 30, and was in like 7 different businesses in my 30s and 40s. But when I hit 50, again, just not as successful as I thought I should be. And I had 2 main goals in my life: to make enough money so I didn't have to work, and to find the woman of my dreams. And on the money, I always did pretty well, made 200, 300 grand a year. But at 50, I realized that I had to start netting $1 million a year if I was ever going to have the exceptional life I dreamed of. And I know that sounds materialistic, but that's what I saw at 50. And on the girl at 50, I'd never been married, although I got to say I did a lot of interviewing. Well, I called it interviewing. My friends called it begging, but I preferred interviewing. But anyway, at 50, I'm puzzled as to how to change things. And I guess like 3 months after I turned 50, a pearl of wisdom comes to me. Find the top book of the world on success and apply that book literally word for word to my life. And so I'm thinking, that's a pretty good idea. And so I jump out of bed and do the research, and I discovered that there is one book that's been read by 150 million people. 150 million people. And it's the top book of the world on success by a factor of 10. And that book is Think and Grow Rich, which I bet you've read, right?
A couple times.
Right. And so I'm like, this is perfect. I mean, I had no idea there's one book that was above all others on success. And so the next day I'm like, heat-seeking missile, and go and buy the book and read the book. And Steve, then I discovered the problem. book says there's a secret for success, but the author only gives us half of the secret. It's on the reader to figure out the other half. Well, I'm bummed out and I mope around for like 3 weeks. And then one day I just get up and go, John, come on, just man up, figure out the damn secret. And ultimately I spent like 2 or 3 months reading the book and probably read it 20 times and ultimately figured out the full secret and a 12-minute a day technique to apply it. And so I started applying it to a new business I was starting in the reverse mortgage field. And Steve, suddenly my income starts doubling and doubling and doubling to the point where 4 years later, I was making 25 times the 200 to 300 grand a year I was making the prior 20 years, and was making $5 million a year net, and of course I felt so blessed. But what was particularly cool is I could see why it was happening. I was just playing the game at a higher level, and I could do things I could never do before. And I had this immense sense of control over my life beyond what I'd ever experienced before. And I just became fascinated by the fact that you could take two key scientific principles and apply them to your life and so materially impact your success. And so um, once I had enough money so I didn't have to work, which is about 10 years ago, I thought, I'm going to share this with the world. And so I sell my company and I meet the former chancellor and president at the University of Texas, probably 2 months after I sold the company. And I tell him my story and he says, hey, you got to teach this at Texas and why don't we teach it together? And then that led to him introduced me to the athletic director, and the athletic director said, well, hey, I want to learn this 12-minute a day technique. And so I taught it to him, and that led to becoming the mental coach for the 18 head coaches. And so today I teach my methodology to students and to athletes in a course called The Science of Success, The Science of Leveraging Yourself. And I teach my methodology to adults by licensing it to coaches and through my book. So that's what I do.
Talk about the methodology, because I love sports, and you mentioned you work with all the coaches at Texas and the athletes. Obviously, been very successful. Talk about the details of this, and 12 minutes doesn't sound like a lot of time.
Right, right. Well, here's something to think about, and this is worthwhile asking your audience. How do you create success in life? And when I'm in person with somebody, oftentimes nobody's ever asked them that question. And so they'll, as you'd imagine, they'll stumble around, they'll come up with something, and I will then recap whatever they said, and then I'll go, so how's that working for you? And usually their response is, well, not so well. And so what I see is that most people are just winging life. They don't have a way of doing life. And the effect of that is they continually recreate their past. And if you dig into that a little deeper, here's what I see is going on. First of all, as human beings, we have two fundamental problems we have to overcome. The first problem is that we are innately wired for survival, which causes the vast majority of our thoughts to be fear-based, and we're reactive. So that's human problem number one. Then the second problem is that 95% of our daily thoughts and actions are unconscious. And so think about that. 95% of your daily thoughts and actions are unconscious. And so the effect of those two problems is when your eyes open up each morning, you're on autopilot most of the day, innately wired to be fear-based and reactive. And it feeds that negative inner voice. And it's a lousy, ineffective way to live. And I should know, I lived that way for 50 years. And so the solution, and this is essentially the secret of Think and Grow Rich, is to create immense clarity in your life. Exactly the person you want to be, exactly what you want to accomplish, and precisely how you're going to achieve your clearly defined goals. And then you feed that to yourself every day, 12, and it takes 12 minutes a day. And once you do, then the right actions start happening automatically without thinking, and those upgraded daily actions then creates the life you want. It's profoundly simple.
It is. And you reset in your mindset in a sense,
Right.
from fear to success in a sense. Well, no,
Exactly. Exactly. Right.
Tell us a story of one of the athletes, coaches, or somebody you work with, and what kind of success they had.
Well, yeah, it's an honor to do this with the athletes. I had Arch Manning in my class last semester, which is cool. But here's what's interesting, Steve. 100% of them feel like they're not enough. They're not good enough. And if you don't mind, let me go a little deeper in explaining the full secret of Think and Grow Rich and what I really teach. And I think the easiest way to do this is through maybe another story.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
so like you heard my story, at 50, I wasn't as successful as I thought I should be. But Steve, there was a little more going on with me than just feeling the scarcity of time. My mom was dying of pancreatic cancer. And so every day after work, I would go and I'd see her in the hospital, and I'd love on her and hold her hand. And then, I would go in the cold, dark parking lot and cry my eyes out for like 45 minutes, an hour every night. And this is going on for like probably 8 weeks. And of course, I'm feeling the impending loss of my mom, obviously, but I knew there was something deeper going on because I had never experienced this level of emotion night after night. I mean, it was totally excruciating. And what I realized, and maybe not right at that moment, but I realized that I was letting my mom down with my life. That was why I was so emotional every night. And my mom and dad gave me everything. They sent me to Jesuit High School in Dallas. They sent me to the University of Texas. I didn't have to pay for anything, and they really couldn't afford that, but they they gave me everything. And my mom and dad invested in me and believed in me, and so all I had to show for it at 50 years old was an average life. And I hated the average life because I just knew I was capable of so much more. And so, what was going on was I'm reading Think and Grow Rich every night during this. And what I ultimately realized was the pain I was feeling was like rocket fuel and causing me to go deeper than anybody else on the planet had to figure out what the secret of Think and Grow Rich was. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And so, like one particular night, the night I really figured out the secret, it was obviously amazing night, but it felt different, Steve. It was snowing that night, and doesn't snow very often in Dallas. And so that this particular night, I go and I see my mom, and I love on her, and then I go in the hospital parking lot as usual and cry for an hour, and then I start driving home, and Steve, I see the big snowflakes hitting my windshield, and just feels different. And so I get home and I plop myself in my nice, comfy chair, and I start reading Think and Grow Rich, like for the 20th time. And this particular night, I read that my daily actions determine my success. The cumulative effect of my daily actions in each area of my life determine my success in life. And that's true in my marriage, my career, and my health. And I never thought about success in such a simple way, but I bought that. And then I read that 95% of your daily actions are unconscious. I'm like, huh, that's interesting. And so by now I'm ready to go to bed, and I brush my teeth and wash my face and get in bed. And so, Steve, I'm laying there, but I can't stop thinking about what I just read, that 95% of your daily thoughts and actions are unconscious. And then it hits me. I don't control my daily actions, yet they're the very thing that's determining my success. And that moment was like getting hit by lightning. And I remember sitting up in bed, I'm looking out at the snow falling in my backyard. It just feels like a surreal moment. And then I think, well, so what controls my daily actions? Well, if 95% of them are unconscious, then it's my subconscious mind, my autopilot. And the subconscious mind is only responsive to repetition. And I'm thinking, all this time, I've been controlling only my intentions, not my actions, only my intentions. And that's really when it all clicked. I realized I wasn't underperforming because of lack of intelligence or lack of drive. Hey, I was underperforming because of a false belief that I had about success for like 50 years, a false belief that probably most of your audience has as well. And that false belief is that you control your daily actions. But now I was finally getting my eyes open to the truth that my autopilot controlled my daily actions. And it's innately wired to be fear-based and reactive. And as that sort of hit me, then the full secret of Think and Grow Rich came to me. And here it is. What you envision in detail with emotion on a daily basis is what shows up in your life. And let me say that again. What you envision in detail with emotion on a daily basis is what shows up in your life. And what that means is you define exactly the person you want to be, exactly what you want to accomplish, and precisely how you're going to achieve your clearly defined goals. And you create that clarity using a template I created. And then you feed that to yourself every day. It takes 12 minutes a day. And once you do that, three things happen. The first thing you experience is an immense sense of control over your life. Well, of course you'd feel that. You're feeling the succinct articulation of your desired life. Of course you're going to feel control. Then the second thing you experience is confidence. And you also feel um, way less stressed because the mind thrives on order and you're creating immense order in the mind,
Yeah.
and that de-stresses you. And then the third thing you experience is that the right actions start happening automatically because after 21 days, your autopilot is reprogrammed and the science kicks in, and then the right actions start happening automatically.
Powerful. And that's automated like that. It just makes your life so much easier.
Right, right. And the foundational aspect about this, and this is maybe the epiphany I would like your audience to take from this, is that uh, the most significant thing I ever learned is that 95% of my daily thoughts and actions are unconscious. And and do you believe that?
I do.
Well, here's what you'll find this interesting. So when I go on podcasts, of course, I'll talk about this, and oftentimes the podcast host will say, "Yeah, I believe that," and then I'm like, "What are you doing about it?" And they're not doing anything about it. and I see that you can intellectually understand this, but not really understand it. And I think that part of the reason that's the case is because for me, I when I learned that 95% of my daily thoughts and actions are unconscious, I also learned that my daily actions determine my success. So it's easy for me to connect the dots to go, whoa, my subconscious mind obviously controls my life, and I've got to gain control of it. And so that epiphany was profound. And does that make sense?
It does. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is my workouts every day. I don't think about it. I know it's 12 o'clock. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to
Right.
go work out. And it's become a habit. I think that's what you said earlier, but it's automated. And I know the exercise is helping me be more successful because I'm more healthier. And I've actually overcome health issues because of that unconscious habit.
Right. Well, and here's something that I think you'll find fascinating because you get this. Um, what happens is some people oftentimes will go, I don't buy that. I don't buy that 95% of my daily actions are unconscious because I'm aware of every action I'm taking. So I don't think that's true. Well, here's what the science is. You take the action unconsciously, and then in a millisecond or two later, you become conscious of it. And I want to, if you'll give me permission, I want to
Sure.
do something that I've never done before on a podcast.
Let's do it.
But I like your energy. Let me ask Chat GPT a question. I
Okay.
got to heat up here.
All right.
So let's see. G, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. What can I do for you?
So I understand that 95% of a person's daily thoughts and actions are unconscious. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Many studies suggest that a large portion of our daily thoughts and actions are driven by unconscious processes. Is there something specific you'd like to explore about that?
Well, I understand that what actually happens is that people first take an action, and then after they take the action, they consciously become aware of that. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Often, actions are initiated unconsciously, and we become aware of them only afterward. This is a common phenomenon in neuroscience.
So, what scientific evidence supports this?
There's evidence from studies using brain imaging techniques like EEG and fMRI. These studies show that certain brain regions activate before a person becomes consciously aware of their decision. For example, studies by neuroscientist Benjamin Libet demonstrated that brain activity related to movement begins before people report making a conscious decision to act. Would you like more detail on that?
So, give me a couple examples of this where you take an action first and then you become aware of it.
Sure. One example is typing on a keyboard. Your fingers move automatically while you focus on your thoughts, and only afterward do you become aware of what you've typed. Another example is driving. You might unconsciously navigate familiar routes and only realize your actions afterward. Does that help clarify?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So,
The driving one is absolutely perfect. I know everybody in the audience, you and me, we get in a car and we go somewhere and go, hey, I'm there already.
right.
That's what you're talking about?
Right. Well, and thank you for letting me do that because
Yeah.
I've never done that before on a podcast. And I want your audience to have the same epiphany that I had that changed my life. I mean, my life changed once I understood how the human mind works, and it's foundational that your 95% of your actions, which determine your success, are unconscious. Therefore, you got to gain control over those unconscious daily actions.
Yep.
So simple.
Got to feed it. Got to feed it. Habits are one word that come to my mind. Practice, persistence is a big part of this. Wow, we're coming to the end here. What's the last piece of advice you give the audience?
Well, let me give them one bit of foundational science to this. Here's how the human mind works. Conscious mind sets the intention and is influenced by logic. Subconscious mind controls your daily actions, or 95% of them, and it's only influenced by repetition. And the classic example is let's say you want to lose weight. Well, conscious mind sets the intention to lose weight based on the logic of the health benefits. But the reason people fail to lose weight is not from lack of intention, it's from lack of influencing their actions regarding eating and exercising. And that's why when you feed the succinct articulation of your desired life, which also articulates the actions required to attain your goals, and you're feeding it every day, that's the repetition the subconscious mind needs to make the right actions happen automatically without thinking.
I just lost 35 pounds in the last 3 months doing
Did you really?
exactly that. I'm now aware of it. I was not aware, probably because my subconscious, I knew stay away from sugar, stay away from gluten, pastas
Right.
and breads, work out. I fast too, and I won't get into that. But I had all these actions that started with my unconscious and then I did it. You're
Right.
blowing me away right now. That's exactly how I lost 35 pounds.
Well, Steve, think about this. Imagine if there was like a pill where if you took the pill, you'd be more successful. And I'm talking about more successful in your career, where you're focused only on what moves the needle, and the right actions happen automatically, and you have a level of control over yourself you've never had. And then let's assume the same pill impacts your romantic relationship. You have a certain way that you need to be with your significant other, and that happens automatically without thinking. And then this pill's also impacting your health, where you're controlling your eating and you're exercising in a way that you never could before. Well, that pill exists, but you got to take it every day, and it takes 12 minutes a day to swallow it.
Yeah, there you go. What a way to end the show. Let's end the show with a fun question.
Okay.
I've got a table at a restaurant for you. 4 chairs. You're going to sit in one of the chairs. You got 3 empty chairs. Who would you invite, whether dead or alive, to have dinner with you? And what food would you order? Being from Texas, I kind of can guess, but I'm going to let you tell me.
God, that is a great question, Steve. Let me think about that. I think I would like to have dinner with Maxwell Maltz, who wrote Psycho-Cybernetics. I'd like to have dinner with Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich. And I'd like to have dinner with Donald Trump to try and enlighten him a little more. Not that I could do it, but I'd like to have a shot.
You got a couple hours to do it. That's great. I don't know.
Steve, it would take way longer than it'd be an intense 6-hour, 10-hour therapy session.
I think it would be fun, though. I would love to be there.
Yeah, right.
Hey, thank you for being an incredible guest, John. You give us so much knowledge. First thing is, how can we get the book?
Well, I've got something even better than the book, even though I want you to buy my book.
Sure.
So for your audience, I created a 9-minute video that explains the full secret of Think and Grow Rich, the science behind it, shows the template I referred to. And oh, by the way, I have a AI algorithm where all you got to do is answer like 50 questions, press a button, and 10 seconds later, my template is customized to your unique life. So it makes applying my methodology super simple. But if you'll go, this video that is 9 minutes long is just go to themissingsecret.org, www.themissingsecret.org, and you can get the 9-minute video. You can also buy the book, but either way is fine. And I think, like I said at the start, if you're driven, this will be life-changing.
No, it's you changed my life. You've made me aware so self-aware of some things that have happened in my life because exactly what you're saying, but I want to do more now. I'm fired up to do much more.
Well, and that point is good because I think that what I bring to the success space, I don't think anybody else brings it. It's an actual way of doing life that moves people from just having intentions to actually taking the right actions to make those intentions a reality. And the flaw in the success business is that most people are telling you do this strategy and that strategy. Well, hey, you got great strategies coming out your ears. You got to get those strategies to show up in your thoughts and actions.
First thing I think of is New Year's Eve, people losing weight.
Yeah,
New Year's resolution. It's exactly what you're saying. Yeah, great intention, but a month later, I used to run health clubs, and the January was packed. February comes, and half the people leave because their intention, they didn't take the action because they didn't make it an unconscious thought that was, this is so powerful. Thank you again, John. This has been a blessing. You can reach out to him at the website he just gave. I'll put it in the show notes so you have access. Here's what I want you guys to do as well. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. But here's why. As you're listening to John, and I'm going to share this to a number of people, there might be somebody out there that wants to be successful and can't find it. Well, share this link. What a gift you're giving somebody. Look how he's helping people. He's helping the University of Texas. He's helping people all over the world. You can do the same. And we're ending with making that impact and change in somebody's life. This could do it, or any other podcast you see that resonates with you. Take the link and share it with others. With that being said, I want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And me and John hope to see you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.